Why did you write about this topic?
So, anecdotally, for years, Ottawans and tourists alike have been sort of saying that Ottawa didn't have very many publicly available, publicly accessible washrooms. And I wanted to see if this was the case. And so that was sort of the crux of my story idea and what the municipality was doing to be more inclusive of people's needs.
What did you find?
So I found that there were barriers to public washrooms in Ottawa. So having a numbered keypad and you had to get the code to having a physical key. There was also the seasonality of toilets. They were only be available 2 to 3 seasons out of the whole year. And there's this concept of publicly available washrooms aren't always accessible to people. So, for example, people experiencing homelessness may get turned away at a cafe or restaurant if they try and use their washroom. I'd also lodged a request with the City of Ottawa to ask the number of public defecation in the city, and it had actually increased over the past 3 years.
What stuck out to you the most?
So I spoke with real people in Ottawa that felt that they didn't matter because washrooms weren't available to them. And it kind of opened my eyes to this concept of toilet privilege, which I had never heard of before. One of the striking things I also found in writing this piece was that Ottawa historically doesn't have a good track record with public washrooms. The most common question asked of the tourism office in Ottawa in 1968 wasn't, where is the Prime Minister's residence? It was actually, where is the washroom on Spark Street?
What impact did your story have?
So my story was actually widely shared in the Ottawa community thanks to Gotta Go Ottawa, and they are a group that advocates for more public washrooms in Ottawa. And people began asking their councillors to consider putting in more public washrooms in phase 2 of the LRT. So that was very heartening for me to see that my work made a difference.
What does this award mean to you?
I would like to thank the National News Media Council, Journalists for Human Rights, and the endowment of the late Fraser MacDougall, who made this award possible for student journalists like me to write about human rights. I'm also happy to be recording this a day after the Ontario Divisional Court ruled against the provincial government's position and proposal that would allow students to opt out of non-essential services like campus newspapers. Well, I've since graduated from Carleton University, and I'm now working at CBC Ottawa. I'm grateful that this award recognizes the work that students can do, and that student journalists are journalists and they have the capacity to write about important issues in their communities.